Welcome back to the broadcast. Well, there are different types of bullying, and one place it can definitely show its ugly head is in the workplace. And when the mind games kick in, it can look a little something like this.
Morning, everyone. So, I have finally decided who I want to be our new senior vice president of sales. He's right here in this room. It's me.
What do you say?
I've decided to absorb the responsibilities of the senior VP position into my own.
Horrible Boss is such a funny movie. So how do you even survive this sort of challenge? Well, that's where Dr. Mackie Owens comes in. Welcome. It's good to see you. Thank you for joining us this morning. And, you know, we've talked about bullying that happens in schools, but corporate bullying is a whole other echelon.
You know, when bullies grow up, you find them in the workplace.
What does it look like?
It looks like when you're asked to do something that is definitely beneath your job description, when there's a lot of sarcasm, when there is demeaning, perhaps you've had a responsibility taken away that was integral to your position, when you are publicly reminded of every mistake you've ever made many, many times.
Dr. Mackie, please tell me, because I'm one of those people, I'm all about understanding that there's bullying in the workplace and in the public and everything else. I'm also one of those people who feels like it's becoming overused. What do you think about that? Do you think people are throwing it, the word bullying to describe what people are experiencing?
You know, we've used other words for it. We've called them horrible bosses, we've called them jerks, and we've called her a snake.
Right.
However, bullying is not a demonizing word. It explains really graphically what's happening. So a lot of times the effect of bullying is what you hear about. So it's easier to characterize that. And actually, in academics, there's very little written. There are very few books, there are very few articles, and they're old.
About corporate bullying or bullying in general?
Corporate bullying,
yeah.
And I think a lot of people think of corporate bullying, they think of maybe, like with that clip we just saw, it's more of a boss-employee situation, but it could even be a coworker situation, someone that's on the exact same playing field as you, but it can actually end up forcing people out of jobs because this is so upsetting and they are so hurt.
Absolutely. 61% of the targets of bullying leave their jobs.
Oh, wow, that's a huge number.
That is a huge number. There was a very large survey done in 2010 which said at the time 4,200 people were surveyed across the United States. 9% were being bullied, but 26% had been bullied.
Why not just stand up for it? Why not just say, hey, I appreciate and respect your job title, but I really don't like the way you're talking to me? Why don't people just, like, you know, get in there and defend themselves?
That's the obvious answer. Just stand up and say, this behavior is unacceptable. I'm not going to have it. I'm going to contact legal. But when you're in the situation, that's not what happens.
Well, and you can forget any social,
What I think is, first of all, don't talk about it to other people at work. Immediately.
So don't go to your coworker and say, I feel like I'm being bullied by Mr.
That's exactly right. You don't talk about it at work. It doesn't work, even though it seems logical, to go to HR. You have to change your expectations. You know, when you look at a school bullying website, they tell you various things to do for your children. However, in corporate bullying, you almost want to do counterintuitive things like, first of all, take some sick time. Take some of your days off and assess your situation. Assess it and recognize that you are hurt.
Would you say that a lot of people, maybe when they are feeling bullied, they tend to alienate themselves from a workplace or from their coworkers or from their boss? Would that be, is that a horrible idea, or is that something that can actually work against you?
I think when you become a target, that it is very hard for other people to listen to you, and they tend to think that you're a whiner.
That's interesting. I think it's interesting you talk about changing your expectations too. There's almost some personal accountability there and recognizing what your environment is. And I'm one of those people, if you're not happy with it, leave. That's how I feel. I feel like there are always other opportunities out there.
I think that's absolutely correct, and that is one of the things that is suggested. I think changing what you say to yourself, not taking it personally, not thinking that you have somehow failed.
That's a good one.
But it's typical for people who are the target of bullying to stay in the position thinking that justice will happen. The average length of time is 22 months.
Wow. Isn't it an opportunity, though, for people to learn how to be assertive and learn how to speak up for themselves, learn how to defend themselves? I mean, I understand, you know, in school, if you have a young child that's being bullied, it's really difficult for them to learn those skills. But as an adult, you know, maybe it's time to have those skills and be able to speak out against it. And you mentioned going to HR, but maybe to go to HR on the down low and say, I just want this in this person's file because this is happening and it's not okay?
Actually, I think it sounds like the right thing to do. However, it generally backfires on the target.
Okay.
And so it's very important that you make a decision, make a plan, decide what to do, and you're free to talk about it after. You are free to talk about it, but until employers change the workplace environment, bullying is going to continue to happen. People suffer as a result and oftentimes have even PTSD symptoms. So a lot of physical stress symptoms and a lot of emotional abuse symptoms.
Wow. Well, thank you for being here with us, Dr. Mackie. Of course, so many great tips because we know there are viewers out there. We know there's some of you that are going through this in the workplace and so many great tips that you can provide for them. Thank you. And of course, we'll have Dr. Mackie's contact information. You can find that on our website. That's thebroadcasttv.com. Click on today's links. You know the drill. Okay, coming up next, we've got more table talk. You never know what we're going to say. Stick around for that.
Or drink.